Yeah, so let's move on. Let's move on, seeing as you've mentioned him, to
Uh,
Kotal Khanzimus. So Kotal Kahn was introduced in. You can hear Callum already just like just slowly being sick in his mouth. Introduced in MKX. Um, he took over from Shao Kahn. Uh, he was the realm of a warrior from the realm of Oshtek, which was once ruled by his father, merged by Outworld. He became the last of his kind. Kotal is uninterested in conquering realms, prefers instead to stabilize it. He caused the oh wow. Wow, I didn't know this. This is really effed up. So at some point in history, he journeyed throughout Earthrealm and encountered the Mayan civilization,
mhm.
wherein he came to be considered a hero after driving off invading Spanish conquistadors. The Mayans named him Bullock Chaptin, their god of war. In his honor, the Mayans began emulating his penchant for consuming blood. However, this caused the Mayans to contract blood disease, killing thousands. In
Yeah.
horror and shame, Kota left the Mayans and returned to Outworld.
Okay.
What a
Now
dick!
I will point out that has been pseudo retcon because
Oh, is that a comic book thing?
that is a comic book thing.
Okay, that's still a dick move.
Yeah. To be fair, it was completely his. It was his fault, but it was a complete accident because he didn't understand. Basically, in Oztec culture, that is what they do, and human physiology is different. So when they
Okay.
started emulating him, he didn't know what would be happening to them. And they just basically followed him what he did because he protected them from colonizers. So they worshipped him in that
Okay.
sense.
Water Titty Man, thank you for the follow.
Um,
Uh, all right. All right, that makes a little bit more sense. The way that it says it here was just like, yeah, eat people, and they're like, okay. Oh, I don't feel so good. He's like, and just goes into a portal and runs away.
it's okay.
Um,
If you really want to enjoy it, you gotta get into the marrow.
yeah, really get into the sweetmeats. I mean, he's perennially known as the job artist, though, isn't he? If we're gonna talk about,
Oh, Kodo's so sad. So the thing is, I would drop, I would drop this man in D tier, but he's beaten Shao Kahn.
yeah.
He's he has that win on his belt, which is tragic for Shao. Like that
um,
that's the worst part. It is. And the thing is, Kotal actually used to be really cool. The comics turned Kotal on a boss, a circumstantial boss, mind you, but a really strong character.
yeah. Well, his whole story was that he was well from what they said in one of the combat casts was that his story was that he used to work with Shao as a general or something, and then he was getting too powerful, so Shao like stuck him in a dungeon or something to just get him out of the
So
picture.
it's kind of fucked up. So what he did was he was like, "Ha, don't like you." Threw him into Shang Tsung's flesh bits, and then Shang Tsung just experimented on him for ages.
Oh,
It was kind of messed up. But
well, yeah. I mean, he has beaten Shao.
yeah,
Otherwise, he wouldn't be the emperor. Um,
the thing is, he's beaten Aaron Black, he's beaten Scarlett, he's beaten Collector, and he's beaten Shao. But we have seen him lose to. Oh wait, who else has he beaten? Oh god, he's beaten Rain, he's beaten Melina, he's beaten Tanya, but they're all jobbers as well. So, if I'm thinking about it realistically, I have to put Kotal at the peak of C because he's
what
actually
grudgingly?
grudging
just, just with disgust on my face.
because he beats Shao.
Well, he's beaten
And
most of the other jobbers in C, hasn't he? So
exactly.
you
And the
can't.
person he got mopped by is Devora, who's in the tier above him.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I
that's
mean,
not playable role.
Comic Coaster was the most badass. Yeah, that's what we were saying, Tech. Is that it's a shame that I've not read the comics, but we were saying that Callum has read the comics and he's worked closely with the comic writer on several projects, and he said that they really fleshed out. Thank you for the follow, Free Grits, by the way. They really fleshed out his character in the comic books, which is a shame that they retconned it. But just going by the story, bro, I miss Cobra. He would be triple S. Why is Jackie so high? So basically, what we were saying, Ibrahim, is that a lot of the time when it comes to the main characters, they're put in situations where they're designed to win. So even though Jackie isn't, in terms of story, it's just Jax's daughter and she's got gun hands. If you look at the people that she's actually beaten, which includes Cetrion, you have to put her higher because she's put in these situations where she, more often than not, will win.
It's main character plot armor role. That's literally the case. Like, honestly, I do not like Jackie at all. I really do not like the character.
I don't like her either. I think she's dry toast,
but she has beaten basically almost all the people in the Jobber tier list. She has a W over an Elder God, mind you, plot armor covered win. But that's the thing.
Yeah. So willing to compromise. Cobra isn't the worst. Okay. Yes, Kotal, take his spot. So yeah, I think we were talking about Kotal though. Yeah, I think King of the Jobbers. He can be the Emperor of Job World amongst all these other jobbers. But speaking of jobbers, we'll put her in because she is integral to this story, even though she's the boss character. Kronika.
The Titan of Time.
So the Titan of Time herself, Kronika, is the main antagonist. Obviously, she's the whole reason why this is happening. She's trying to restart the universe. She's a Titaness, a being of higher rank than that of an Elder God. She is the Keeper of Time, Architect of Destiny, and the Mother of Shinnok and Cetrion. She's the creator of Geras, has the ability to manipulate time, and has rewritten time, I'm guessing, infinite amount of times over and over again. That's just her role. It's just to see time through over and over again.
Yeah, so she used time basically to have it tailored to her favor.
Yeah, so she is a Titan. I think for me is the most interesting part of the MK11 story is the introduction of these Titan level characters.
Mm-hmm.
Much like a lot of this stuff is based on mythology, like Greek mythology, Titans were the ones that ruled the earth in Greek mythology before Zeus and his siblings beat them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing you can shed some more light on this. Oh, thank you, my love. You can shed some more light on this. What are Titans in the realm of Mortal Kombat?
Titans are a completely new idea and concept that was introduced for 11 that exists on the spectrum that is not in just our universe. She doesn't operate on a normal universe basis, but more so of a multiverse spectrum. So as I mentioned with gods, where they control elements and certain aspects of reality within their world, Kronika controls the literal fabric and space of time itself on a galaxy-wide level. That's why in every intro or finisher where someone takes her power and basically utilizes it, they turn it into a galactic level god. Noob Saibot becomes the god of death. Like that's the level of power we're essentially talking
So you're talking about the arcade endings. And then...
Yeah. That's the type of power they're essentially dealing with, right? So Kronika, without a doubt, is above all else. There are conflicting feelings about, whether or not Kronika is above or below what the one being is. That's up for debate, honestly.
Is the one being supposed to be God then?
So the one being is basically supposed to be the universe, but here's the weird thing. The universe is only born when time exists, and time exists when the one being is born. But Kronika operates on a dimensional scale where it doesn't just exist in that universe. She exists in a much larger scale. So she can exist before he does. It's a weird one.
So it's sort of like Marvel, where they have eternity as a being.
Yeah, that's actually the best example.
and then there's different incarnations of eternity as well. So maybe the one being there's different.
Yeah, no, that's actually a good way of putting it. That's a good way of putting it.
I mean, she only loses in the story when Liu Kang, as like triple S tier elder god Liu Kang, puts on her helmet, which is basically all of her stolen powers. So, yeah, I mean, I would, even though she is the baddie and she's designed to lose, I would say that she's at the absolute top of the tier list because realistically,
I would say to about 2 more characters. Or on the second.
Oh, okay, yeah. No,
That's right.
Okay, that's fair. I feel like Chronica, speaking of like, just talking briefly about, I know I keep going on the sides, but I just love the story and I know that talking to you about it, you're going to be like, well, actually, which is why I love it. But I feel like Chronica got a little bit jobbed. In the sense of her powers, I mean, does she really need henchmen? Couldn't she have just done everything herself? Or do you think, is that just me trying to find too much logic in the
Chronica's a very weird one in terms of how she's written and how she does it. So being able to merge 2 different timelines together makes her like remarkably, incredibly powerful. But in order to reset the timelines, you need to like basically send off at enemies to grab these MacGuffins in order to achieve.
Yeah, that's it.
So she can't do it necessarily by herself, and the only reason she ever bothers merging the 2 timelines is because Raiden has basically killed everyone she'd asked for help from. So it's one of those ones. I think she's exceptionally strong, but despite her title, she is somewhat limited, and can use resources in order to obtain and use a higher level of power. So there's still a threshold gap she can fill in.
So she's not omnipotent. She's just super hench.
Yeah. 110%.
Okay. All right. So yeah, but we're gonna put her at the top for now then. Okay. So I think that's fair. All right. Next up, Kung Lao, not the Great Kung Lao. The other Kung Lao. Yeah, Kung Lao, former Shaolin monk, member of the White Lotus Society, stands in the shadow of his great ancestor, the Great Kung Lao, who was the Kung Lao who beat... did he beat Shang Tsung or did he beat Goro? Who did the Great Kung Lao beat?
The Great Kung Lao beat Shang Tsung and died to Goro in the following tournament.
Okay. So he's the one that saved Earthrealm basically and stopped it because Shang Tsung was going to win 9 and then Great Kung Lao beat him for the 10th, which meant that they had to restart it.
Yep.
But yeah, this isn't that Kung Lao. He's highly conceited and immature and has a deep-seated insecurity and inferiority complex. He's trained under Bo Raicho. Lao is the most outspoken pacifist, even though he's got a hat that can chop off people's heads. Yeah, great. Where are we going to put Kung Lao?
I would consider Kung Lao beater.
Really?
Yeah.
Why would you say that? Tell me.
Because he is a strong fighter. He's been the main playable character role, but he hasn't achieved the same feats that Liu Kang has. He's only ever fought Liu Kang's scraps, and although he has been successful, it's not like he's gotten a really big win over him. At most, the closest thing to a big win he does have, and this is a character select option, is fighting Geras. That can either be done by Liu Kang or Kung Lao.
Hey, hello, Foxy. Happy birthday, man.
Oh, hello, Mr. Foxy. But considering that Liu's literally beaten Shao Kahn, and we cannot forget Kung Lao infamously getting his neck snapped with his back turned, and then taking really bad L's and X, but it's a Revenant, so it doesn't count. I would put him in beta.
You say he beat... Foxy said he beat Goro. Did he beat Goro?
He beat Goro and Kintaro in his chapter for MK9, yes. But that's what I mean by he's fought Liu's scraps, right? He hasn't gotten that
okay.
win. That's the one problem. Like, the closest thing he has to fighting someone of that level has actually been, like, Geras, which is a shame, because I actually do like Lao. And honestly, if Liu wasn't triple fusion danced into itself, I actually would put Liu on A. So it would actually be one step behind, mind you.
So would you put him above Katana or below? I would say potentially above then. If he's supposed to be on a similar level to Liu.
But we also have to keep in mind, Katana has beaten Shao Kahn.
That's true.
That's the thing. Like that's
true.
the only reason Kotal's up as high as he is. That's the only reason Katana is up as high as she is, right? That's the issue.
Yeah,
like,
we're saying Xiaozi.
Kung Lao's beaten a fair few people, but he doesn't have that big win. And as we saw with Shao Kahn, right, he wasted Geras. So that's the difficult part. That's the difficult part.
I think towards the top of B is fair. I mean, yeah.
I don't think many more people will be up that high on B, to be fair.
We're focusing, so Foxy, we're focusing mostly on the timeline, on the reset timeline between 9 onwards. So we mentioned some stuff that they've done, but we're mostly focusing on the 9 onwards, because otherwise we'd be here for ages.
Oh, dude, it's tragic for Lao and Deadly Alliance. Now you mention it. So after Liu Kang dies, basically Kung Lao undergoes super strenuous training to basically become Liu Kang's equal with Bo Rai Cho, and they train with each other for like 6 months straight. They go fight the Deadly Alliance and still get killed. So it's really he gets it really bad in like every timeline.
I feel like he's always considered to be a bit of a joke character because
they keep treating
he's always
him like
the second,
right, and I don't like it.
Yeah, sort of like Vegeta to Goku, and
yeah,
like, you know, you never really, they get strong, but they never really get that, and they'll beat like the main henchman, but they'll never get that push to overtake like the main dude.
That's the tragic part.
Yeah. But yeah, I think B is, because I mean, usually when you see the three, especially in the later games, it's Liu Kang, Kung Lao, and Katana, right? So it makes sense for Katana, for him to be on that level of Katana, but not on the level of Liu, who we've seen transcend time and space. But Liu's up next. We'll talk about young Liu. So obviously the protagonist. He's won Mortal Kombat, so that.
I mean, he's beaten practically every enemy.
Yeah, he's beaten everyone. Yeah, he's beaten. Not only has he beaten everyone, so he's won. According to this, he's won it twice. He's become the grand champion twice. He does get his neck. Did he get his neck snapped, or did he get soul drained?
So in Deadly Alliance, he gets both. He gets his neck snapped, and then Shang's like, yum, yum, yum. Just eats.
Yeah, I couldn't remember, but alright, it's both. So, but, yeah, he's won 2 tournaments. He's beaten pretty much everybody on this list.
Are we talking about normal Liu Kang, or are we talking end game Liu Kang? Because if we're talking like current Liu Kang, it's like he's the peak of S tier. If we're talking human Liu Kang, he's above Cassie.
I think we should just do it as human Liu Kang.
Mm-hmm.
Only because that's the majority of his character up to what we've had in the story so far. Mm-hmm. So we haven't really seen. All right, I did really like actually how he did the bait and switch to Shang at the end of Aftermath. And he was like, actually, this whole time I knew what you were doing, but I just wanted to see how it would play out. And then I thought that was quite sneaky. I was like, that's very sneaky for Liu Kang. Usually Liu Kang just runs in face first. Mm-hmm. But we haven't really seen him do much yet. And we don't know where the story's going to go with him as... Because, I mean, yeah, if we're putting him as double Chronica, Raiden, double Liu, Elder God, Titan Liu Kang, then... yeah, he goes above all of them. But
yeah,
I think we'll just put him at the top of A for now.
He'll be high end A anyway.
Yeah, because he would be high end A anyway. Yeah, and he's just got the chops. He just smoked everybody, and yeah, even before he got buffed, he's beaten Xiao, he's beaten Shang, he's beaten, he's beaten Raiden. So Yeah, he's definitely at that top end of God, like the lower end of God level can fight gods.
Yeah.
But then eventually ascends. But I think A is fine. I think it's quite a clear cut top of A until he becomes super god mode. All right, next up, Nightwolf.
Interesting. All right.
An interesting
Haven't thought about
character.
this one much.
Well, he's been in it since 3. He's always linked to like the greater powers, and he was like he's always he's more of like a spiritual character, so he's always been aware of Raiden and such, even though he's Native American. He was the one who beat Sindel.
Souped up Sindel as well.
When Sindel was one-shotting everybody, he was the one that took her out. But he hasn't really done much since then.
In Aftermath, he does beat Garrus. It's worth noting that.
Yeah, that's true.
So I feel like that and killing Sindel definitely puts him...
Maybe low A.
I'm thinking B for the time being, because I need to think of another reason why he could be on there. Because he's beaten his Revenant counterpart. He's beaten Revenant Sindel as well.
He's beaten Garrus, who is a god technically.
I might put him behind Kitana, because again, just for the Shao Kahn win. Because he has technically beaten a god, and so has Kung Lao. But I feel like Nightwolf's big win and sacrifice over Sindel kind of itches him out over Lao.
Yeah, and I guess it wasn't like a clear... He didn't body Sindel. It was like a...
Yeah, no, he killed himself in order to stop her. Yeah. So I feel like that's an even placement for him, because he did a lot of stuff in MK9 that kind of earned him his spot on there, but not enough that I could say that would allow him to directly confront characters in A.
No, I think that's fair. I think he could probably beat Johnny and Cassie in like a straight fight, but in terms of if they were to go God mode, I mean, he's got Kiba and stuff, but it's not the same as immortal Mediterranean cult. Yeah, I think that's fair. I love Nightwolf.
Green energy.
Yeah, I mean, he's got green energy too. He does have green energy too.
Everyone has green energy. I wake up, I drink green energy. I fall asleep, I drink green energy. Wash my hair with green.
Yeah, same. Why do you think my beard looks so fresh? I was washing it with green energy this morning. All right, Noob. Well, funny enough, my brother's just here. Why isn't Noob at the top? Noob Cybot.
Noob, trash can.
Yeah, unfortunately. So we're taking him as Noob, not as... Obviously, he is the original Sub-Zero, but we're not considering that. We're considering him solely as Noob.
This man has only taken L's.
Yes. No, wait. Didn't he beat somebody?
No. The first fight he has in MK9... The first fight Bihan has in MK9 is against Scorpion. And he dies. And he comes back in Chapter 14 as Noob Cybot. And then loses to Cyborg Kuai Liang. And then isn't there for MKX. Comes back in 11 at Shang Tsung's island and is bodied by Jax or Jackie. And then I'm pretty sure he appears one more time during Aftermath somewhere. But Noob Cybot gets trash canned. Like, he doesn't even...
Oh no.
He doesn't even get... Again, the thing is with these D-list characters, it's about who's important to the story, right? If you take out Noob Cybot or Collector, nothing actually changes.
No. I'm scrolling through the wiki now just to see, what about when? And then I'm just like, no.
Yeah, even Gritz pointed out, Noob Cybot gets, forward into Solnado and MK9. Like Nightwolf.
No, they're actual brothers. It's so Noob Saibot is the older brother of this Sub-Zero, and he gets killed by Scorpion and turns into Noob Saibot. Yeah, he's.
I would.
That's what I said, Goblin.
Collector for legacy reasons, but
I mean, Bihan beat Fujin, didn't he? If you're looking at mythologies.
Yeah, but the thing is, they even debunked that in Aftermath with Fujin saying, "Oh, I let you win." So I was just kind of like, "Oh, well."
True. Oh, that's actually what I was thinking. Yeah, because Fujin fights Noob, doesn't he, in Aftermath?
Yeah, he just pops it to him. It's like, "Yeah, I let you win." It's like, oh no.
All right, so Noob at the bottom. We finally got 2 trash cans. Yay! Collector isn't by himself collecting taxes.
Talking of trash cans, Raiden.
Raiden, I think, is an interesting one. Obviously, he is the god of thunder, so he is god level at the start. God level. But I don't know why Dark Raiden gave him such a massive power boost, because he absolutely frees Shinnok up.
Yeah.
So would you not think that that would put him at the top of A then? If he can solo Shinnok, like, with ease.
It's not that he can solo Shinnok, and the reason why I say that is there's a lot of factors to take into account here. So godhood is one. The second is having Shinnok's amulet actually amplifies a wielder's power.
Oh, yeah, he had the amulet, didn't he? Fair dues. All right.
Yeah. Like in the original canon with Quan Chi, he took Shinnok's amulet for himself in order to amplify his own powers for the Deadly Alliance arc. That's not only the reason. That's not only the main reason why I'm putting him at the top of A, but canonically and how it's been written, Liu Kang. It's like a weird rock paper scissors situation where Liu Kang apparently isn't able to defeat Raiden, but Raiden can lose to Shao Kahn, but Shao Kahn can't win against Liu Kang. Typically, they change that for Aftermath. It's a rock paper scissors situation. So I think for the sake of
Liu Kang in 9, doesn't he?
Ratio, I think Raiden comes out on top of Liu Kang in terms of godhood and the fact that he's just like, that's just how it is written.
Yeah, I mean, he literally cooks Liu Kang in 9.
Yeah.
So
turns him to fried toast.
And then I did like their fight scene in 11 where it's them swapping, like, you see all the different times they fought across all the different timelines. I thought that was probably the coolest scene in the story. Yeah, I mean, has Raiden lost to anybody who isn't like Shao Kahn level? You can think of.
He lost to Sonia in MK9, but he kind of let her have that win. Outside of that, he only ever loses once to Fujin in Aftermath.
Oh yeah, Aftermath. So yeah, I think top of A. I mean, he's an immortal god of lightning, so he's basically Thor who knows kung fu. So he's not really gonna lose to anybody.
He also has a corner infinite, so be careful.
Yeah, he does have. Well, he did have a corner infinite. Yeah, so. So yeah, I think Raiden's. I think I forgot about the amulet. To be honest with you, I was like, yeah, he soloed Shinnok, but yeah, I completely forgot about the amulet. So yeah, I think
substantial. To be fair.
Yeah, I think top of A is fine because you never see him fight Cetrion 1v1, and even though he was an Elder God at one point, it doesn't seem like he's held on to that like absolute cosmic level.
Yeah, he's lost that prestige.
Yeah. Dark Raiden is probably S tier with the amulet.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Because if he can job out Shinnok, then Shinnok's an Elder God, then
yeah, that'd put him up there. That'd put him up there.
This will be an interesting one as well. Old Hanzo himself, the main character. Well, the other main character other than Liu. Young Scorpion. So Scorpion's been in it since the first one in some capacity or another. Retconned several times over the course of the... Hey, bless you for the sub, Altered Root. And thank you, Clarky, for the follow. 3-month streak, let's go. Bless you, man. Coming in hot. Yeah, originally he was just a bad guy, then he became a good bad guy, and now he's a good guy. Quan Chi, now I think, again, correct me if I'm wrong, now the story, like the most recent version of the story is Quan Chi manipulated the original Sub-Zero into killing his family because he wanted Scorpion to be a revenant, or like to get control of Scorpion.
Yeah, so the basic gist is Quan Chi posed or he either posed as Bihan or someone similar to Bihan and had Lin Kuei play a part in killing not only his family but the Shira Ryu.
Okay.
And when he killed Hanzo, he was interested in like that burning vengeance he had in him from seeing his family be killed by Lin Kuei. And Foss then decided was like, all right, I'm gonna take that. That's gonna be mine. That's gonna be mine. So that's kind of this iteration of Scorpion here.
So when we're talking about Scorpion now, are we gonna look at old Hanzo or young Hanzo?
That's the really strange one then,
because old Hanzo, obviously he's killed Sub-Zero and he's considered like a strong fighter. He's killed a whole bunch of dudes, but he gets absolutely ganked by Devourer. So
yeah, so that's the weird one here. I personally think that Hellfire Scorpion is stronger than Human Scorpion, but we even saw Human Scorpion beat it. It feels like one of those weird ones where it can flip either way. I think that the Devourer thing may just be an anomaly that can just happen.
Yeah, because it was a gank. It wasn't a straight fight. She just came out of the shadows and stabbed him in the butt, and then he died.
Yeah, basically.
So, yeah, I mean, I agree. I think Hellfire Scorpion is definitely stronger than Old Man Scorpion.
Mm-hmm. The question is, where would you place him?
I guess here, next to Devourer, like maybe just above Devourer. Because I mean, even though Devourer kills him,
the Hellfire Scorpion immediately fights back and cuts off her arms.
Yeah, so Gustavo Page, thank you for the follow. Yeah, I think even though he's considered such a popular character and he's got such a big lore, you know, and such a massive following. I mean, he's always on the box. It's never Liu Kang, right? It's always Scorpion on the box, and Scorpion and Sub-Zero.
Yeah.
So, you know, Scorpion's considered to be the most popular character, etc., etc. He's never really done anything off the top of my head, storyline-wise, that's really like a massive feat.
So he's only beaten Bihan. He's beaten Sector and Cyrax.
Quan Chi?
Yeah, but that's the thing, that's him as human, right? So as a human, he's beaten Sonia Blade, he's beaten Johnny Cage, he's beaten Quan Chi, he's beaten Sub-Zero, and he's beaten who else is there? Yeah, I think that's it for Human Scorpion. And then there's the first chapter of the game where he fights against Cyrax and Sector again. Then he fights Noob Saibot, but Noob Saibot's a trash can. And then he fights Devourer, and I'm pretty sure he actually beat Devourer before he's killed.
Yeah, he did, because she runs away, doesn't she? And then and then she stabs him. But would you put him above Kung Lao? I think Kung Lao's still beaten. Like Kung Lao beat Fox.
Yeah, Kung Lao's beat Goro and Kentaro.
So Kung Lao's actually beaten, say, a stronger caliber of dude, and he is considered to be on par with Liu Kang, even though it's not really usually depicted as such.
Yeah.
But no, I think right in the middle of B is good. He's an exceptional fighter. He could definitely smoke all the jobbers below him, but he's not really done anything.
No. Honestly, everyone in B is really good and strong anyway.
Yeah, everyone in B is a strong fighter. They just if they were to come up against somebody like Raiden or Shao Kahn, it might be a toss up.
Because if I were to put it realistically, like from the top of the list, it's god galactic level deities. A is god killers or god characters. B is where the fighters are capable of winning for themselves and can contest for a higher role. C is completely interchangeable because with B, we're trying to analyze their win and loss ratio and the quality of their fighters. And D is just where you want to put your rubbish.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. Well, Shang's next, so we'll talk about Shang. Wait, am I doing this right? Shang.
All right, this one's gonna be hard doo-doo.
Shang.
Because
Shang.
you know what makes this one so hard to do? Because the only chapter with Shang we get is in Aftermath, where he has the crown of power on his head and he gets the big wins.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it at the story, he won 9 Mortal Kombats in a row. Obviously, not beating anybody here.
Mm-hmm.
He's beaten. Well, he's with Quan Chi. They beat Liu Kang. Yeah, he's considered to be. I mean, if you just look at his feats in terms of power, like his actual sorcerer's abilities, the fact that he can do the portals and he can do all the rituals and stuff and actually utilize all of Kronika's powers, it shows him that he's hench. Yeah, but he doesn't actually do anything, until he does the whole yoink and then becomes...
Yeah, because that's why he effectively becomes young. Until then, we see him get beaten up by Zombo Nightwolf. Like, he gets killed at the very start of the story. So, I don't know. It feels like he's in kind of a delicate position because we can't really analyze him properly with the crown because that makes him S automatically.
Yeah.
I feel like Shang's B.
Maybe the top of B though.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to think. Would it be above Lao?
I think above. I mean, again, if you were just to look at his magic and sorcery and stuff, I feel like... But then, I guess... Because
that's the thing. It's like... I don't
know now.
I'm trying to think, are we going by Old Man Shang now? Because I feel like that's the only way to judge this accurately.
Yeah, I guess you would have to go with Old Man Shang.
If it's Old Man Shang, I'd probably put him... I'd actually put him on the lower end of B if that's the case.
Below Scorpion, probably.
Yeah, I think so. But you also got to remember, the Vora has killed people.
Yeah. It's silly though when you think about it. This is why I thought Aftermath was a bit silly. Because if you actually analyze it like we are, like breaking it all the way down, Shang Tsung's not that deep. I mean, he's super powerful, and obviously his power has always been in his intelligence and cunning, rather than his actual fighting ability. Like, he's always been really sneaky.
Yeah, he'd always stab you in the back.
But I guess if you're looking at it based on just sheer power level, I mean, he did create Kronika's crown. Yeah, I guess he's sort of past his prime. Maybe in the new games, if they do that story that you said when they go back in time to the Great Kung Lao time, we see him like peak 9 wins in a row, Sonic Fox Shang Tsung. Then maybe we'll put him a bit higher. But I guess for now that's sort of fair. Speaking of though, retcons, Sindel.
Oh, are we at Sindel now?
We're at Sindel, yeah, we are. Wait, Shao first, then Sindel.
Shao. Oh, okay, I was gonna say.
Yeah, Shao, SH. Yeah, Shao, then Sindel, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't alphabet. Alright, Shao first.
I would... So, Shao, Grand Emperor, big outward ruler, but does have 3 big losses under his belt that are valid. First is Liu Kang, second is Kitana, and third is Kotal.
Yeah, I mean, anybody who loses to Kotal is automatically a job artist, but he is like the over 10,000 year old immortal. I mean, we don't even know how old he is, right? He's not.
Oh, he's timeless. He's an immortal.
Yeah,
He
he's just
he
like
doesn't age.
super. If Katana's considered young at 10,000, then he must be like 100,000 or something ridiculous like that. He's been conquering realms for millennia upon millennia. He jobs Geras in Aftermath. He jobs Liu Kang in Aftermath. He jobs everybody in Aftermath, basically.
But that's the thing, right? He kills Geras. He's beaten Johnny Cage. But the thing is, as well, whilst he did get the one win over Liu Kang, if we're looking at that ratio realistically of how many times they've clashed and how many times Liu has won in almost every instance out except Aftermath.
But he smokes Geras. So
Yes.
If Geras is considered to be at that, I mean, he's beaten 4 of the 5 people on the A tier.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, hello, VGO. How you doing, my brother? So I don't think we can put him in B because even though you're right, he's lost to Liu, he's lost to Kotal, and he's lost to Katana.
He's A for sure.
I would put him probably above Geras, but below Johnny.
Yes and no, because he has beaten Johnny, but he's beaten Johnny in his youth as well. But the thing is, like I said, with Raiden, Liu, and Kotal, not Kotal, and Shao, it's like a rock paper scissors situation, right?
Yeah.
Where one can beat the other, but one can't beat the other. So it's a weird trifecta, realistically.
Johnny is A because he has ancient Mediterranean cult god armor that him and Cassie are the same. So when they're in desperate situations or they're fighting gods, basically they get super god armor, which makes them on god level, elder god level, but it's not something they can use all the time. So that's why they're in A, because even though they could potentially lose to anybody in these tiers, when push comes to shove, they can just go Super Saiyan. So it puts them in this tier. Because they've both beaten Shinnok, who's an elder god, so...
yeah. I don't know, I feel like Shao's placement there's actually fine in itself.
Yeah, the only reason why I wouldn't put him higher is just because these two can beat Shinnok. So even though he's probably... Well, he is definitely stronger than both of them in terms of... Or maybe maybe he goes above them then. If you're talking about like just sheer power.
Yeah, I'd say at
it's more
worst,
consistent, right?
I'd say at best I'd put him behind Liu Kang.
Yeah, I think behind Liu Kang makes sense. Because he is the boss, right?
Yeah.
Like the Johnny placement. Yeah, man, Mediterranean power armor.
That's just how it is.
I don't think Shao's never been an elder god as far as I'm aware.
No, he's basically, he plays the same role that Raiden technically does as Guardian of the Realm. The only difference is that he got crazy on the idea of merging realms and killed Onaga and was like, lol, I'm doing this by myself now.
Yeah, it's literally, you said it as I read it. It is revealed in this section that Shao Kahn was an advisor to Outworld as Raiden was to Earthrealm.
Mm-hmm.
And then kills Onaga. Yeah, so
technically Shao comes under God/immortal in this universe.
Yeah, he might be a god, but I don't think it's been explicitly said.
It's never elaborated on. It's just heavily implied. I mean, they've actually bothered heavily implying that Raiden and Shao Kahn are brothers. A lot.
Yeah, in multiple medias as well.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat Annihilation, boys. Let's go. What's movie
Conquest. And Conquest.
And Conquest and Mortal Kombat vs. DC. Yep, we brought that.
I mean, we've discovered the 3. We've just listed the 3 worst, arguably the 3 worst Mortal Kombat.
The unholy trinity.
Related media, but it is inferred. So they're like Megatron and Optimus Prime. Yeah, that's a perfect analogy, Grits. That's exactly what it is. Mediterranean salad. Yeah, basically, they just eat loads of olives and they just became super hench. If that was the case, I'd be above Chronica level. If olives gave you superpowers.
Every
now
time you flex, olive quivers. Mediterranean.
Speaking of quivering, is the Elder Gods in general, or are they just of Earth realm? That's a good question, actually. Are Elder Gods, I guess they're gods across all reality, right?
Just over Earth.
Oh, okay. So the Elder Gods have no...
they have no jurisdiction beyond
in
that.
Outworld.
Um,
I just always thought that Elder Gods, like each realm has their own gods. Hey, thank you, Avery, for the host. How you doing, my man? Yeah, I thought every realm had their own gods, and then the Elder Gods were above those, but looked at all the realms.
yeah, no, sorry, that's what I mean. That's
okay.
how...
So the Elder Gods are involved in every realm, and then.
So, with the realms, I always like to think of them as different layers on the cake or whatever, but they all simultaneously live on one another, but don't touch each other unless you cross that boundary.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
So
okay.
like makes sense when like Scorpion cuts a hole into the floor and drags you to hell, right? Makes a little more sense then, because it's all these different planes of reality all laid to each other.
That's true. Yeah, I just want them to do more with the Elder Gods, man. I like the idea of them adding Cetrion in this one, but
the thing is, I'd love to agree with that, but I'm so past that idea of the Elder Gods now, because the Elder Gods have been around since the very first game, and they only ever bothered using them properly up until this game. So I'm just kind of like, they're cooked idea, throw them away.
No, that's why I want it. That's why I'm happy, because they keep mentioning it and mentioning it and mentioning it, and now they're finally starting to delve into it. I want them to make Mortal Kombat Elder God Edition, where all the characters are the Elder Gods.
They're all Cetrion.
Yeah, just Cetrion and the type, like, no jobbery. I don't want to see noob or collector. I want all of my mans to be like Omega God tier, like can destroy realities by clicking their fingers. That's what I want. A fighting game with characters that hench. Speaking of Sindel. So Sindel.
Oh wait, are we on Sindel?
Now we are actually on Sindel. Yeah.
Okay.
So Sindel is arguably the most controversial character canonically.
All right. So Sindel's undergone a complete revamp in terms of what she can do and what she's capable of. And honestly, the revamp instantly lands her in A tier. Her Siren and new capabilities are a better version of what Cassie's and Johnny's can essentially do. Whereas theirs work against gods, hers is strong enough universally. So it's constantly on. She can use it anytime she wants to. She has beaten Cetrion toe-to-toe, with, mind you, assistance from Nightwolf. She's beaten Cassie. She beats a young Johnny. She goes on to beat her daughter as well. Like, she beats Shiva. Like, she does a lot of damage. She does a lot of damage. And the thing is, like, Sindel wasn't really this strong beforehand. Like, even in MK9, it was somewhat justified, right? With the power-up she had from Shang Tsung being infused with thousands of souls. But in 9, she's just an absolute wrecking ball.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, so for those of you that are unaware, originally her story was that she was sort of spell corrupted into loving Shao Kahn, and she always loved Jared, but she gets corrupted, and then she falls in love with Shao Kahn, but ultimately she's a good character that was forced to go bad. However, in 11, that was retconned so that she's been bad the whole time. All of that stuff about being a good guy was a lie, and she basically just said that to keep all the loyalist people like Katana on her side. So yeah, she had a massive character transplant in 11, which I don't think many people were fond of, but that's sort of the character which goes in line to your talk of her and the siren now, because the siren, this is the first time this siren has ever appeared. They ever explain what it is or where it comes from?
No, it's just a wraith part of her, like a physical extension of her siren counterpart, probably tying in some form of Greek mythology, right?
Okay, so it's not. It's more like a spirit that possesses her. It's like sort of like Spawn and his cape. It's not really, and his symbiote. Like sorry, Venom and a symbiote or something. It's not really.
I'd say the closest thing to it is probably a stand from JoJo.
Okay,
I,
yeah,
I
that
say
makes
that's
sense.
probably the closest thing it is.
But based on that, though, on this like new badass personality transplant and new power upgrade, and the fact that she's smoked a lot of top people.
Mm.
I mean, she's an A definitely, but where would you put her in A?
I would put her behind Shao.
Behind Shao, really?
Yes. I'm not under the impression that she can beat Shao right now. Honestly, I feel like the gray line between the top four of A is very, very thin. Like
Okay.
hairline thin.
Okay. So obviously, yeah, she's hench enough. She's smoked. She can smoke everybody else, and she has beaten Cetrion. But you don't think in a straight fight she could beat Liu, Raiden, or Shao?
It's
Based on what she's done so far.
But I feel like those three are in a locked unit where they're just like beating them is nigh impossible unless you have like something that you can edge them out of her.
Okay, that's fair. Do you think before, just as like a caveat, do you think before 11 she would have been on the same tier, or do you think she probably would have been in B, right? Mid B.
Yeah, she would have been the top of B.
Okay, that's fair.
Because the peak of her strength would have been her killing like everyone.
And then losing to Nightwolf, who's the top of B. So
yeah,
that makes sense. Okay. Scarlett is next.
She's definitely in job up.
Yeah, she's a C. She's a hard C. I'd say probably even below Eren.
Yeah, I can't see her any reason why. It's not like she doesn't. I haven't seen her kill anyone in the story, minus that. No, she actually doesn't. She just throws blood at Kotal. Bees is a mild nuisance for Jade in Katana's chapter, and that's it. Like this was the game where she had her main roster debut. You know, like she actually didn't really do much story wise. She was involved with the main plot a little bit more than Noob, Cybot, and Collector were. Outside of that, I don't. She didn't really do much. She didn't have any crazy feats of strength.
Yeah, I mean, firstly, grits don't say that because Reptile is my favorite after Cobra. Please, Reptile would be triple S, Omega God, Titan tier. And also Goblin, yes, you're right. Wouldn't be the first time she's below Eren. Pew 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 pew. But yeah, she doesn't really. I mean, again, she's a genetic experiment taught blood magic by Shao Kahn. When you think about it like that, you'd think like she's basically a blood version of the T-1000. So she should really be unstoppable, but she doesn't really do anything.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like her powers work unless she gets her hands on you for the most part.
Which is interesting considering that she's mostly a zoner in terms of her actual gameplay.
Yeah, that's the weird stuff. Also, kudos Josh on the win, by the way.
Oh yes, congratulations, young man, on your win yesterday. Highlighting the strength of low gunshot. Shooting people in the foot.
Catch them watching toes, son.
Yeah, no, people need to watch them toes. They're definitely an underutilized special move. But yeah, no, well played, my man. It just works with the kit really well. It's like a better version of Spirit Tracks. You know, like strings like 112. you know that they want to block high or 3-1-2, so you end it with a spirit tracks. But the difference between spirit tracks and gunshot is gunshot's super fast, pushes you back much further away on block, and Aaron Black has loads more safe ways of going into overhead ending strings, which just enforces you to block high. So you can do back to gunshot, back to gunshot. It's just a much safer version of the slide mix. Obviously, you don't get as much off it, but yeah, it's a super strong move. But yeah, Scarlett, would you say she's the bottom of C? She's very similar to. I mean, would you even put her at the top of D? I mean, if you're using D as the if you took them out, would it affect the story? Would the story be affected if you took Scarlett out?
That's a fair point. She does a
like
little
her
more prominently.
Yeah, she's definitely more involved.
Story. That's the problem.
She's much more involved than these two, but she's sort of like a more involved collector. She's like, I'm a henchman.
Yeah,
right.
No, that is fair.
So
yeah, I wouldn't mind either way at the end of C or top of D. I think it's a very grey line for this one.
I'm gonna put it at the top of D because I want them to be a trilogy of trash at the bottom. Just holding up the tier list. All right, Sonia Blade.
All right, Sonia, military girl, been around for a while. No longer plays like Sonia from any other game. Just a droner. I don't know. For her, she's in the playable win seat, so that's a good position. So that's probably on that's on B tier. She beats Cabal. She's beaten
Kano.
Yeah, she beats Kano, Aaron Black. Pretty sure someone else as well, but yeah. Oh no, she beats Garrus as well.
Oh yeah, she does in the black.
Yeah, she does.
So that would put her above Scorpion, I guess, before Lao.
That actually would. That actually would. We're going by our rules now. It actually puts her above Scorpion for sure.
Yeah, I mean she's strong, but she's not really. I mean It's funny that Johnny and Cassie, obviously they're related by blood, and Johnny and Sonia aren't. Otherwise that'd be weird. But she's always considered to be the main woman. She was the first female character in MK11, but she doesn't really. She just beats up Black Dragon people, and Black Dragon people for the most part are jobbers, like Jarek and Jarek and Cabal, and so it's not like she's beaten anybody above that apart from Garrus. So,
yeah, it's not like it's anyone significant type of thing.
But no, I think B is. Because she's good in the cutscenes in MK11 where she's taking out like 30 demons, but they're just like cannon fodder orcs, aren't they? So
yeah, no, that is true. Yeah, I think that's a fair placement for her.
Just check and see if there's anything else I've missed. No, okay. Next up, so we're not doing the DLC characters. Oh, fudge, I forgot Fujin. Let's do Fujin now. Stupid alphabet.
Okay, because we've got Sub-Zero, Fujin, Shiva,
Rain, and Melina. So we've got a few more left. If you want, we'll do a couple more now, and then we'll finish up tomorrow if you fancy. So
of course.
So we can do Fujin and Melina now, because alphabetically they should be before Sub-Zero. And then tomorrow we can finish up with Sub-Zero, Shiva, and Rain.
Yeah, of course. I'm down with that one.
Sweet. Okay, we'll do Fujin first then. So Fujin is a god like Raiden. He was as the protector of Earthrealm when Raiden ascended to Elder God status. He is Raiden's younger brother, according to Mortal Kombat 11.
So it's a weird one. They are brothers, but it's not like... I don't know if it's a genetic thing or if it's one used by name only.
Oh, little brother, like in a Shaolin temple. You
Yeah,
think?
like a companion sort of name.
Oh, okay.
'Cause it's never explored how
How they're related.
yeah, how they're related, or even how gods are really born in that sense, right? Because apparently, a normal god can obtain elder god status somehow, despite like just being a god.
So he lives amongst humans because he loves them so much.
Yeah.
Uh,
So Fujin, unlike Raiden, actually spent time with humans and got to know them as well humans. You know, got to know them as people, experience what they are, whilst Raiden kind of keeps humans at an arm's distance. So there's a
yeah.
lot of similarities yet differences between them.
Okay, so he did lose to the original Sub-Zero in Mythologies, lol.
Hmm.
But he smokes people in Aftermath.
And did also say he gave Bihan that W.
Yeah, it did, and did mug Bihan off completely.
Mm.
I still wouldn't put him above these three though.
What, you wouldn't put Fujin above?
I mean,
Oh, okay.
if Liu Kang maybe above Shao, I guess.
Yeah. So I think honestly that's a good positioning because the so with Fujin being behind Shao, it makes more sense to me because the only big win that he does, well, two big wins he does have, is against Cetrion, which is a combined effort, mind you, by the end of it. But he does also beat Raiden when he's holding Shinnok's amulet too. So it's a bit of a confusing one. It's like I feel like
Yeah,
the
that's
role,
true.
I feel like it could go about in front of Shao or behind Shao. I'm not too sure. Either way, again, this line we do have at A is like it's paper thin.
I'm gonna put him above Shao only because he's an actual god,
Yeah,
and Liu Kang obviously we've already put there because he even before he became a god, he was capable of fighting god level people hand to hand. So
he was always capable of that level of strength.
yeah, so I think there is fair for Fujin. He's a top dude, but he's not really been in it much other than 4, which was his main one, and now 11. Like in terms of like actually being in the story as a main character. Yeah, I think that's fine. Alright, so we'll finish up with Melina, and then we'll do Sub-Zero, Shiva, and Rain tomorrow, if that's cool.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay.
so Melina, despite the vitriol on Twitter, has been in the game for a while. She was the Empress of Outworld after Shao Kahn was beaten, because I guess just because she's a daughter, she's a Katana clone. But
Now,
yeah,
realistically, would you
she's
like an actual placement on where I think she goes?
yeah. Hit me.
Behind Kotal. Because Kotal beats her. She has always been in the antagonistic role. She's lost to Jade. She's lost to Katana. She's lost to even Striker.
She gets killed by Devourer.
Yep, and Devourer is above her. I feel like that's an appropriate placement on the tier list. The Empress of Outworld has not really gotten big, huge W's in her career. If we look at like a fight win-loss ratio,
And she's not really, even when she was Empress, she wasn't really like ruling it through fear and by smoking people. She was more like a sneaky, I'm gonna hire a henchman. But
it's not that. Like she was actually more ruthless than Shao Kahn was, but it wasn't from like a sense of like helping her own people. She was burning down the very thing she was trying to own. So it was really backwards, which is why Rain and MKX actually wanted to kill her once he got his hands on Shinnok's amulet for himself.
I can't wait to do Rain. That'll be tomorrow. But yeah, she's not really done I mean, if Kotal is the jobber gatekeeper, yeah, she definitely, and Jade is bottom of B, and Jade has beaten Melina. Then storyline wise, I mean, again, because she's the baddie. Why you gotta use facts? Sorry, Holly. Because she's the baddie, she has to lose, right? That's the saddest part about any of these stories. Is it's not usually written. I mean, Mortal Kombat has a much better story than most, right?
Yeah.
But still, ultimately, you're playing through the game as the protagonist, and they want you to advance as the good guys. So if you're a perennial bad guy like Kano, like Melina, you're never gonna get those big wins that's gonna propel you. Like, people will tell you, oh, Melina's a big deal. Oh, Kano's a big deal. But you won't ever see it in the game because ultimately you're playing as the people that have to beat them. And they always will beat them because that's how games work. So you're not going to get a nuance like a comic book or a film or something like that where you can see stuff from the other side of things. Unfortunately, Melina trash.
Yeah, she's not done very well for herself, which is a shame despite her fan base and people actually enjoying the character quite a bit.
I think she's super sick. I think her MK11 version is really cool. I really, really like her design. But, yeah, she's still not... I mean, she's one of the characters in the game she's a DLC character as well. So it's not even like she was in Aftermath and shoehorned in that story. She's just been tacked on at the end like, not dead. I'm a ghost or something. So...
Yeah, I'm kind of here.
Yeah, I guess I'm an alternate version or something. So... yeah, Sub-Zero. So this is the second Sub-Zero. The first Sub-Zero is Bi-Han, who was brutally murdered by Scorpion and became the is Noble Revenant?
He's like, yeah, he is a Revenant technically. I suppose out of all of the characters, Noob doesn't just represent being just Noob Cybot, but more or less the position of all of the Revenants in the main story, I feel. Okay. They're just like jobbers for the most part, where they are designed to just get in the way for player progression.
Yeah, it's sometimes you just need an undead henchman, don't you? And they just...
Yeah, sometimes you do. Sometimes you do.
So Bi-Han appeared as Sub-Zero in the first Mortal Kombat, while Kai Lung went by... Kai Lung is this Sub-Zero. Went by the codename Tundra.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, he took his brother's former codename as a mean of honoring him. Yeah, that's about it, really. Then he's just Sub-Zero. I mean, I guess you just put him next to Scorpion, right?
Honestly, I think I'm trying to think of where he deserves to be exactly, because he beat Sector. It comes down to player choice as well, because he only gets one chapter. So if we're going by that, he's beat Sector, he's beat Cyrax, he's beat Frost, he's beat his own brother. So he's guaranteed to not be in D or C for the most part.
Yeah.
But it's where he comes up in the effective middle or lower end of B, which is, I feel, towards above. I feel above maybe Shang Tsung? Maybe above Shang Tsung? Because, Shang's mega old, right? And the only reason D'Vorah is up as high as she is because she keeps being written as a character that kills people.
Yeah. Yeah, no, yeah. D'Vorah's the hey, we need to write this character out. Have D'Vorah kill her. Okay.
Yeah, effectively.
Yeah, just but D'Vorah's got poison mouth. She can kill people effectively without having to write too much. This is a story tier list, Kikma. This isn't a in-game tier list. And in the story, Collector is absolute trash cans.
Oh, he is the worst. He loses every fight. If you took him out of the game, nothing changes.
We've established that the reason why Collector has 6 arms is so that he can hold all the L's.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's why he has a bottomless bag, right? He needs to store them
a
somewhere.
bag of L's, yeah. Is Noob standing in as B hand? No, Noob's Noob. He's we can't really even add his B hand traits because as Fujin says in Aftermath, he goes, "Lol, actually, I let you win because I felt sorry for you, noob." Literally.
Yeah. And then the one time we do see Bihan as Sub-Zero, he loses to Sonia in her chapter in MK9, and then he dies in Scorpion's chapter in MK9. And he gets his ass kicked as a noob cybot, first by his cyberized brother, and then kicked into a Soulnado by Nightwolf, only to come back in 11 and drop out to his brother, and then Fujin.
Yeah, he gets freed.
Yeah, so he's actually ends up getting, because the thing is as well with Noob Saibot, he's also a Revenant, and a majority of Revenants are actually super duper weak. So Noob Saibot doesn't just represent Noob Saibot, he actually represents a position for all of the Revenant based characters, I'd say, minus Scorpion, who is seemingly the only exception to that rule.
Yeah, and even then, he's not really a Revenant in the traditional sense of he's come back all crusty, fied, and burnt. He's still just himself, but like a demon version.
Yeah.
So he's like a buffed Revenant.
He's essentially what happens if you spend 5 years on Tumblr and Twitter rolled into one human being.
Just become an edgelord.
Yeah. My family and clan.
Meh. Shut up, Scorpion, you bum. But yeah, I think Sub-Zero at B is fine. He's not really... The thing is, right, there's a few of these characters, like Sub-Zero, like Scorpion, like Shang even, that are sort of embroiled in their own B story almost, which is not superfluous to the main plot, but it's usually what consumes them outside of the main story.
It's actually a good point.
Yeah, so like Scorpion and Sub-Zero never really interact with Liu Kang and Katana and those guys because they're always dealing with the Cyber Ninjas or Quan Chi or, you know, some sort of extra side bit that doesn't really affect the main story. So they'll never really, well, until that changes, they'll never really be considered
much more than that.
Yeah,
really.
they'll never really be considered to be top tier like characters storyline wise because they literally don't do anything that really affects the story in like a really major way. So yeah, I think Sub-Zero as a beat, because yeah, I mean he beat Cyrax, he's beat the Cyber Ninjas, he's beat Scorpion, you know, but he's never. I can't even off the top of it remember him even being in like interacting with Liu Kang or outside of scenes where they all sort of get pulled together. But then he wasn't even in Hell in the last fight, was he? Sub-Zero, when they're fighting all the demons, and I can't remember what he was doing in 11 after he helps beat the Cyber Ninjas at that base.
So he appears during the final battle. He is present there, much like Scorpion. They're basically all there for the most part. I can't think of any characters that don't actually appear in that final sequence, to be fair. No, I think they're all there.
Okay. I just don't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, so Sub-Zero I think is a hard B. Easy, Dan. Yeah, nerf Shao. Yeah, this is the only time you'll see Shao Kahn in an A in the tier list. Alright, Shiva. Shiva is an interesting character. She's turned up in one of the later combat packs. She is a Shokan, same race as Goro. Bodyguard of Queen Sindel for the most part. And then became the queen of the Shokan after the death of Goro's father.
Yeah, when Gorbak got pseudo killed and his head clapped off by Kotal, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was in the MKX comic book series. Like, Kotal full on like put his hands on Gorbak's face. You know, Into the Spider-Verse, right?
Yeah.
Where it's Miles Morales, so it's like, hey, but instead Kotal snaps his all the way around.
Oh.
So that's what it basically was with King Gorbak. And that's basically how he died. I'm not even joking. Just like snaps his head all the way around and he's gone.
Oh.
So after that, the Shokuns kind of hold a tournament, which is a trial by combat one. But at the time, Goro had his arms all cut off. So with that being done, it was basically up to Shiva to pick up the mantle and take over his role because she beat out Kintaro. And Kintaro would later go on to die in the comics anyway. So she is effectively what's left of the trio of Shogun from the original trilogy of games.
And she appears in Mortal Kombat 11, just in Aftermath.
Mm-hmm.
But she doesn't beat... I mean, who does she beat? Like, Aaron Black?
She beats Aaron Black, Baraka, Jade, and Kotal. So she beats up the jobbery characters.
She beats up... Yeah, the Zero.
She beats up the Zero. Yeah.
That's there. And Jade, who's the gatekeeper to be.
Basically.
I mean, storyline-wise, you'd think that somebody who was Goro level would be, like, high Bs, right? But, I mean, realistically...
Yes and no, but the only problem, the reason why she even got in that position in the first place was because Goro had no arms and actually wasn't allowed to participate because they were like, hello, no. So, he was effectively... a Shogun getting their arms cut off is considered like the ultimate form of just like disgrace and an insult. So he was not allowed to participate in the tournament, and thus it was ultimately just Shiva who had to pick up his role. So the only reason she was ever relegated with a Goro-like spot is because Goro could not do anything about it.
So... would you put her... I guess you just put her just above Jade then, right?
Yep.
She beat Jade.
Mm-hmm. Which is quite funny, because in MK9, Jade actually beats her. But, if we're talking about current continuity, then, over time, I would place her above Jade.
Stupid Shiva. Alright, so last but not least... Rain.
Oh, it's going to be a hard one.
Yeah, so Rain... is another character who has... Well, he's not been seen in a long time outside of MK11.
That may be because you only ever fight him twice in the entire rebooted series. You only fight him during Kotal's chapter and later on in the Voyage chapter for X. Outside of that, Rain actually has not been playable. Really, he's only featured. Yeah, he hasn't really been a proper character in the rebooted continuity. He's only made an appearance in the comics, which was fairly brief, and the games itself, where he's only in like 2 scenes. He takes 2 L's, and then he disappears and becomes DLC.
Banished to the DLC realm.
Oh god, yes.
But storyline-wise, so he's the son of Argus, who is a god?
Yes. So basically, each realm is governed by a different god. So, like, Shao was the overseer of Outworld, Raiden and Fujin are the overseer of Earthrealm. Even Lucifer was the overseer of the Netherrealm for a bit before Shinnok overthrew him. So...
Oh, jokes, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Argus was the overseer of Edenia, and Rain himself is by definition, a bastard offspring of his own, to the point where it was considered shameful even amongst the gods, so he actually hid the existence of Rain as a whole. At least in this timeline and continuity, because he didn't want his wife Delia to actually find out about it. Which is a very bad decision, especially when your wife is an oracle and sees everything.
Unwise.
So, Rain has been around for a substantial amount of time, but it's worth pointing out that from his time, even in the original continuity, he is dubbed as the weaker... controversial point. the weakest son of Argus. Because unlike Taven or Dagon, he was denied his godhood his entire life. And upon finding it, he tries to claim it by killing Taven, but Taven's able to defeat him in the conquest mode of Armageddon. So he wasn't able to defeat him, and Taven does go on to defeat Dagon. So the strength levels between Dagon and Rain are somewhat up in the air, but Rain wasn't really playable in he wasn't playable. I think he's only had very small appearances. I think he's only ever appeared in MK3, Armageddon 9 and 11. I don't think I'm fairly certain he wasn't playable in Deadly Alliance or Deception or 4. So my man dipped. My man dipped.
Yes, I've got it here. It says Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 and Trilogy, I guess, counts. Because it's the same thing. Yeah, and then Armageddon, 11, and 9. Yep.
Yeah. I thought so. So.
No, you're right.
So it does make things quite difficult to find exact placement for him.
He's a god, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ish.
But he's also a jobber.
So, would we put him...
I would...
It's tough, isn't it? Because he is a god. He's straight up a god, or a demigod. So you would think, realistically, he would be an A. Because a god level, or who can fight gods, right?
Mm-hmm.
But... I'm trying to see if he's got any...
The thing is, Rain also has not killed anybody, so... He hasn't really earned a spot even amongst the jobbers, which is where we're actually stacking people on their kill count. That's the difficult part. So I think Rain might even slip into top tier of D if we're going by the points we've made of how we're ranking the character.
I can't put him in D.
That's the really difficult part. Do we put him?
How could you do that to me, Callum? I thought you were my boy.
Do we put him at the very end of C? Because, like, it seems like with Rain, it's like he has that power, but he doesn't use it.
But he's not really even given the opportunity to use it, has he? I mean,
exactly. That's the problem.
Oh, we can't put him in D. I'm gonna. Oh.
It's really hard. It's like. On paper, he's great. It's like with Ermac. Ermac should be like squashing people's heads at the start of every fight with the power of telekinesis. But he doesn't, and he gets beaten up every time. It doesn't make sense narratively. Like, if you're a demigod, you definitely expect a fair bit from Rain. But Rain has not had the opportunity to shine, nor has he had the opportunity to actually show what he's quite capable of. If we're talking about feats, oh god, you know what? I just thought of the one big feat he's had in the rebooted timeline.
Tell me.
He made it slightly cloudy for Kotal.
What?
Because Oztecs derived their power from sunlight, right? So, Brain was like, haha, I know what will stop you, Kotal. I'll make it slightly cloudy. And I'll stop you getting that 0.0001 buff.
Counterpick confirmed? Question mark?
Yep, and this was quickly followed by Kotal actually blasting a ray of sunlight on him and burning him horribly. So, it's also worth pointing that out.
I'm going to put him at the bottom of C. I'm not going to put him in D.
So, it's also worth mentioning that because Rain is such an unfortunate and tragic tale. He is so much cooler than he has any right to be with his designs and concepts, but he has not had any luck with showing off what he's capable of.
I feel like that's a running theme with Mortal Kombat as well, in the sense of it's characters who are considered to be arrogant are all just jokes. Like Kung Lao is a joke character almost. Johnny Cage is a joke character almost. Well, he is. So there's never a character in this series who is like super arrogant, like Vega. Like he's super arrogant, but he's also super lethal. all the
Mm.
characters in this game that are considered to be that sort of arrogant, sort of condescending, they're just considered to be like they're never ever ever considered to be an actual threat. Like
I
no one
think
considers Johnny a threat.
the only character that comes somewhat close to having a bit of a humorous snide manner, that he basically what I would deem as a shit-eating smile, whilst people being wary of him, is probably Shang Tsung. Shang Tsung's
Yes,
probably the only
yeah,
villain that gets away with it.
but even then, he definitely gets a lot of
Oh, he takes a lot of L's.
he
He gets
takes a lot of
beaten up
L's,
a
but
bit.
also he gets plot written like in Aftermath. Not to shit on the story or anything, even though it was a bit weird. Was the fact firstly everybody trusted him, and secondly that infamous scene of when Shang Tsung's holding the crown for like 20 minutes. And he's
Yeah,
giving
then
that
fucking
extra long
showing off his
speech.
dialogue, and
Yeah.
I'm just kind of like, why is no one hitting him with a fatal blow?
Why is nobody hitting anybody with an anything? Why are they all just standing there? But yeah, I think Shang definitely and that even that's not a storyline thing. That's like a outside of the story thing. Everyone's like, I can't trust Shang. He's a sneaky snake. But you don't actually see him do anything in the story that. Like I guess Shao maybe in the story is considered, but he's not like cocky. He's just a dick. Like he's so confident in his own
Yeah.
strength. It's not really arrogance in like I'm better than you. He doesn't. He sort of transcends that. He's just like you're not even worth contemplating.
Yeah,
So,
he's very egotistical. I think he's the peak of arrogance.
um. So yeah. So that's it. I mean, we've got the DLC characters. Can't really put these. I guess you just put them all in trash, right? Because they're all just they're all just dudes, apart from Spawn maybe.
Spawn is like his own like separate thing. Even if we were to like for funsies rank him, he'd be like silly levels.
He'd probably be an S or
He
like
would
the
be
top
S.
of A at the very least.
Because considering that he's literally punched God in the face, I'm like, yeah, that's pretty up there. That's pretty up there.
But yeah, so that's it, ladies and gentlemen. This is our Mortal Kombat 11 storyline tier list. So S tier we have Chronica and Cetra. I'm surprised we didn't have more S's, but I guess it makes sense the way that we ended up categorizing them. Chronica, Cetrion, S tier, A tier, Raiden, Liu, Fujin, Shao, Sindel, Cassie, Johnny, Garrus. B, Katana, Nightwolf, Kung Lao, Sonia, Scorpion, Devourer, Sub, Shang, Jackie, Shiva, Jade. Jobbers, the king of jobbers is at the top. Kotal, Melina, Jax, Kabal, Frost, Baraka, Kano, Eren, and poor Rain. And then the trash cans who make literally no impact on the story at all and could easily be removed are Scarlett, Noob, and Collector. Just quickly before I let you go, out of these characters, excluding the main ones, obviously, who do you think, giving your predictions, would be do you think any of these characters are going to appear in the next one? Or do you think that we're going to be looking at like a Street Fighter 3 style reboot of...
So, judging by knowing how NRS likes to make their games and how like they will just straight up reboot themselves if they need to, a lot of these characters are probably going to go. Characters that will probably return, more than likely a variation of Cetrion, a variation of Raiden, may stick with human Raiden. Liu Kang seems to be a dead sure deal. Fujin.
So characters
A,
that are old enough to be around. Probably
yeah,
Shang as well, I guess.
a variation of Shao Kahn. Sindel, probably. Edenians, ageless. Cassie will be gone. Johnny will be gone. Garrus probably will not return. Katana can be a character that sticks around. A variation of Nightwolf. I know they've been toying with the idea of a female Nightwolf. Kung Lao, but I think the variation of Kung Lao, or we all know we're going to be getting, is going to be the Great Kung Lao. Sonia will be gone. A variation of Scorpion, but they need Poster Boy.
I think it'll be so. If you're looking at I think the theme then will be Oh no.
Oh, oh,
Oh
oh,
no.
oh.
Oh, there you go.
There
I
it
think
is.
the theme will be that all of. I mean, one of the main things. Yeah, I wish they keep Geras, but they won't. They definitely won't. One of these themes is if they're deciding to go down the like it is the Great Kung Lao era. Most of these clans. So there was a White Lotus clan. There was a Lin Kuei. There was a Shirai Ryu. There was a yeah, like you said, Nightwolves are successors now, so there'll be another version of Nightwolf. Um, yeah, so basically, we're just gonna see.
You'll see some welcomed comebacks, the ones that exist in the lore. So there'll be a variation of Scorpion that comes back. Devora's gonna be gone. Like no one likes this character anyway. Unless you're a honeybee, no one likes this
or
character.
Chambos.
Yeah. There'll be a Cryomancer that comes back because they need one. Shang Tsung is definitely gone. He will not be back. I think after having Kuretagawa finally reprise his role for the last time, I think that will be the send-off for the character that they've been looking for. Jackie will be gone. Shiva will more than likely
You
be
don't think
gone.
Shang will appear, but what about
Goro makes more sense.
Oh, okay.
I feel like if they're doing the Great Kung Lao type of arc, it makes sense for Goro to be there instead of her. Jade can work, but we will see. Kotal they don't want this character to exist anymore, so no. Melina probably not, but they'll find a way. They'll probably make her DLC there too. Jack,
Yeah.
yeah, Jax will be gone. Cabal will be gone. Frost will be gone. Baraka can pass across. They do need a jobber character, I suppose, and Baraka's, kind of the go-to. We'll probably get a variation of Kano where it will be like, oh look, I'm a British guy that sounds Australian again. Hardy ha, pip pip, sir. Um, Aaron Black actually works. Rain won't come back without a doubt. Scarlett will be gone. Sidebot will be gone. Hopefully, Collector will be gone. But yeah, I think those are the characters that will return, and those are the characters that will be out of here.
Do you think that there will be a new? I mean, this is pure speculation now. Do you think that there will be an announcement of something coming up this year, or do you think that it's?
I
Think it's gonna
don't.
be a...
No, I don't think so. I'm in very high doubts that we will see another NRS game till probably next year or even 2022. Because I know some stuff behind closed doors. I'm not gonna say it on stream.
No.
But I'm fairly sure that's what's going on with it. From a money standpoint, it's actually cheaper for them to invest more money into this game instead of building up a brand new game and then having to market it from, the step up.
So just more DLC.
Yeah, but which will more than likely be the case. And I mean, if people instantly got back into the game once Combat Pack 2 was announced, right? So what's to say that they can't keep doing that same mindset mentality?
Yeah, just do a season pass, I guess, and just do it like Street Fighter or Grand Blue or something. Just say, hey, for the next year, we're going to be releasing new levels and new characters and new this and that for £25 for the whole thing or something.
And for £25 a month, you can feel justified by feeling like being a dick on Twitter and saying, wow, it's been a month, where's my new character? So feel that and take that into account.
I can't, I mean, that must be the most annoying thing being Ed. It's just every time you tweet, where's Noob? Where's Melina? Where's Smoke? And then you finally release the characters. Buff Melina, buff Katana.
Why am I so bad? Keep buffing them so that way they're good. Why do I still suck? Oh, I'm just bad.
I just don't understand what these people want. Like, every character just has a one-hit KO. Just you press the button once, you win 2 rounds. Like, yeah.
Oh, these are the type of people that jam crayons up that nose, my friend.
It's true. Why am I trying to rationalize the unrationalizable? All right, well, that's it. That's all for this wonderful experiment. Thank you very much to Callum aka History Behind the Warrior.
Hey.
So this is part 2, which is going to go on YouTube today. Part 1 is already up on the YouTube at YouTube/Sodium Gym. So yesterday was Baraka to Kotal. So today will be
Sub-Zero to Rain.
Well, no. So I didn't do the whole of yesterday's in one go.
Okay.
It would have been too long. So yesterday's was Baraka to Kotal, and then today's is, I can't even remember who's. I think Katana to Rain. So I've split it in 2 basically. So it's like 2 hour-long portions rather than like 1 3-hour one yesterday and then a 20-minute one today.
Excellent.
So yeah, please hit Callum up on Twitter, HB the Warrior on YouTube, History Behind the Warrior. Twitch, is it History Behind the Warrior as well?
It's HBTWARRIOR for Twitch.
HBTWARRIOR for Twitch. As we were talking about yesterday, he's got some awesome upcoming projects with the writer of the comic book, the MKX comic book, and also looking at potential alternative stories for MK11, so that'd be super interesting. So please make sure you follow the guy on that. Hit me up at Sodium Gym on everything basically, so that's all of my stuff. And I will catch you guys. Well, I'm still going to keep streaming, but just for the sake of the video, I'll catch you guys later. Bye. Woo.